They didn't see it coming. I sat there waiting for this boring meeting to end, waiting for the real fun to begin. I looked at my old-fashioned cocktail, made by Antonio here at our country club. He made the best cocktails in town, the perfect ratio of bourbon, bitters, and fresh orange zest. I was in my own world, watching the glass sweat in the late summer heat, waiting for my turn to take the microphone and butter up everyone who spoke before me. But that didn't happen. You see, I had been honored by the local Chamber of Commerce and various groups for my company's contribution to job creation and maintaining the quality of life in our community. I own 51% of the controlling stake in my manufacturing company, Royal Manufacturing. My name is Evan Royal. I am 45 years old, I have no children, and I have been married to Evelyn for 10 years. Our company was the largest employer in our county and 5 neighboring counties. I received another meaningless award for being such a good CEO. Another feather was added to my cap, which, along with $2.50, could buy me a cup of coffee. My wife sat next to my co-owner, Roger, who owned 49% of Royal, but was pretty much useless. All the patents belonged to me, not the company. I made sure of that as the owner and CEO, so that if I was ever fired by ungrateful board members, I would still have financial leverage. He was too stupid or lazy to pay attention when our new patents came through the patent office. My best friend, Sam Huddleston, was our corporate lawyer and made sure I was protected in all transactions. He never liked Roger ever since college. The mayor was finishing his speech, and I knew it would soon be my turn. As I twirled my glass, I saw out of the corner of my eye that my wife had stood up and was walking toward me. I was about to stand up when the mayor introduced me, and my wife leaned over and said, "By the way, I'm leaving with Roger right after this damn ceremony. I'm divorcing you and taking my half of the company, and Roger will fire you." She probably expected me to be confused or lose my composure, but she didn't expect me to respond with laughter. I finished my old-fashioned, stood up, straightened my jacket and pants, and walked over to the podium. You see, my wife thought I was a spineless nerd. She probably thought I would make a fool of myself because I would be emotional and look like an idiot, stumbling over my words because of the bombshell she had dropped on me seconds before my speech. I kept laughing as I climbed onto the podium. I looked at Roger and saw a smirk on his face, then looked at my wife, and she saw the steel in my eyes. I thought I saw fear in her eyes, maybe even a little regret. I think she realized that things weren't going according to plan. I thanked the mayor and said a few kind words about the award. Then I got to the point of my speech, or was it a farewell speech? "Many of you know me," I said, which was met with laughter and applause. "But many of you don't know that last week I was relieved of my duties as CEO and majority shareholder of Royal Manufacturing. I sold all of my controlling shares to our largest competitor, Ace Manufacturing." The commotion and murmurs in the audience grew louder as I gave everyone time to process what I had said. Panic almost took over, but I held out both hands and gestured for everyone to sit down, which they did. "You see, I've heard rumors that my wife Evelyn and Roger Stockman are having an affair and that they are plotting to take over the company I founded." Roger came in later with the necessary capital he got from his father, thereby acquiring 49% of the shares, and oust me. There was another murmur and stern glances toward Roger and Evelyn. You see, I was the golden boy who brought life back to our town thanks to the jobs created by my company. I couldn't do anything wrong. They were messing with the goose that laid the golden eggs. I assure you that Ace Manufacturing will come in and ensure a smooth and painless transition. I have it on good authority that no jobs will be cut. In fact, the number of jobs will increase. Applause followed. They also expressed interest in firing Roger Stockman, as a man capable of seducing his partner's wife has no right to run a company. They would abide by our rules, especially the code of ethics, which applies to all employees, from the CEO to the janitor. Roger's expression was priceless. "What? No smirks now, Roger?" You'll still get a consolation prize, my soon-to-be ex-wife, who, thanks to the prenuptial agreement and my selling my ACE shares for $1, will need your trust fund to continue living in the luxury she's accustomed to. Then I turned to my wife. Oh, yes. I have every right and authority to enforce the prenuptial agreement. The security cameras caught you and Roger having sex in his office. I also have numerous videos of the two of you behaving like overexcited teenagers in our home. Considering that the house belonged to me before our engagement and marriage, you have 2 days to remove all your personal belongings, meaning your clothes and everything you brought into the marriage. The look of horror on her face and the fact that she had bet on the wrong horse at the racetrack were priceless. Tears were streaming down her face, but not because of the end of our marriage, but because of the enormous risk she had taken and lost. I finished, walked over, and shook the hand of the very confused mayor, who was in shock and could only utter a few syllables. I looked at him. You don't know what to say? I'm sure this is the first time in your life, Mayor. I stepped down from the podium and chaos ensued. The crowd grew even louder, and I just wanted to get to my car. Sam caught up with me. You really know how to liven up a boring event, he said, laughing loudly. We heard shouting behind us as Roger and Evelyn ran up to us. Roger was angrier than an alcoholic at a AA meeting. You can't do this. I'll sue you for every penny. Sam stepped between Roger and me. The only thing you can get is the money he sold the shares for. Everything else is in a trust, which is untouchable. You know, just like the trust your father set up for you. You don't actually own anything. It all belongs to the trust. Besides, the moral clause you signed when you bought 49% stipulates severe penalties for violating company policy, especially the part about damaging the company's reputation. The penalties will cut the value of your shares in half. You really should have read the fine print. If you want to fight it in court, the video will cause such a stir that I'm sure Ace will be able to file a counterclaim and reduce the amount even further. You'd better shut your mouth and run back to Daddy. I'm sure he'll be very happy that you lost all that money. Evelyn looked at me, started to speak, but fell silent. I think she realized that none of the cliches from the liar's handbook would work. I shook my head. You had everything, and you bet it all on one clown. You know why his dad gave him money to buy the Royal? So Roger wouldn't meddle in his business. That's why he only had a nominal position and no real power. He can't even fill out a piece of paper correctly when he goes to the bathroom. As we turned to continue our walk, we heard the happy couple yelling at each other. It seemed that all was not well in paradise. Sam and I walked to my car. Standing nearby was Lisa Spellman, president of ACE Manufacturing. Lisa was still a beautiful woman in her early 40s. She wasn't just president because her father was CEO. She was president because she was brilliant and had a genius for business. You said you were going to liven this place up. I really like that. The three of us laughed. Are you ready to start working at ACE? She had been trying to convince me to merge our companies for several years, as mine was strong in research and development and Ace was strong in manufacturing and distribution. It was a perfect match, but I lacked the catalyst to take that step. A little insider information. It was Lisa who told me about Roger and Evelyn. I always enjoyed having lunch with her when she was trying to convince me of the mutual benefits of a merger. Hey, she's sexy. Always took me to the best restaurants and paid the bill. Did I mention she's sexy? But nothing ever happened during any of our meetings. During the investigation of Royal Manufacturing, she and her staff noticed many secret meetings between Roger and Evelyn. They saw alarming signs, and Lisa told me about it. This prompted me to upgrade the surveillance cameras at both the factory and my home. The surveillance camera footage showed what they were up to and that their relationship had failed the compatibility test. Sun Tzu said, "If you know your enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." I didn't just win that battle. I won the war. On paper, I sold the company for $1, as has already been said, but the real wealth was in the patents and royalties. What the public did not know was that the Ace shares had been transferred to a trust fund, making them untouchable and not subject to the marriage contract.